I'm Big Ali Bob, West Side Most Valuable Pimp, Gangster Crip. I'm originated out of West LA, moved to the Mid-City, but we represent West LA.
I'm Big Ski, original West LA, from this area, the Sugar Hill area, Normandy and Washington, Western and Washington.
So both you guys grew up in two different parts of Los Angeles, but ended up repping the same thing.
He moved to the block.
I moved to this side of LA. So I grew up in the Marvins. The Marvins raised me, and I used to run with the Marvins. Shout out to the MGCs, rest in peace, Crazy D. They raised me. I was going to pastor. I got kicked out, and they sent me to Mount Vernon at the time because my mom moved on LaSalle, where we currently at right now. And he was one of the first dudes I met, you know? Crazy cat right here, you know? And so, I mean, we like night and day, but you know what I mean? Peanut butter and jelly, so yeah. I met him at Mount Vernon, and he didn't move on this block because he lived originally on Western, across the street from the original great Chapelitas. And, but we met in school. We met walking home from school because he was connected to a couple other cats that lived on this block that he was cool with. I know they knew each other. I don't think he was hanging with them, but everybody was familiar from 24th Street. Because, you know, 24th Street cool, then most people go 24th, then Mount Vernon.
I was living in 1934, Southwestern. That's where I was living at before we moved here.
Now that's the house right across from Chapelita.
Yeah, but let's keep it 1,000. I remember it was Mama Mia's. It wasn't Chapelitas back then. It was Mama Mia's when I was little. Then it turned into Chapelitas.
At some point, you two guys clicked so tough that you decided to start something. Is this like 7th grade or 8th grade?
7th grade.
7th grade. Our family had just been able to buy this house. And so that kind of connected us because he lived directly across the street from me, and we already knew each other from school.
When we started running again, I was still claiming Marvin. I was still banging for Marvin, going to Mount Vernon. I knew a couple people that went to Mount Vernon, that went to Marvin Avenue Elementary.
Him and his cousins. Shout out to rest in peace, Crazy D,
right.
Delano, and Rolando.
Right.
Big gun.
Big shotgun. I was little shotgun. But as I moved over here, being a youngster, obviously, I'm way across the end, and my interest started running with these guys. I still would go over because I still had, my aunt lived over there in the Marvins. We was in the hip hop as well because I had moved to New York in the early 80s and came back to LA. So I still had a little hip hop, and then we connected with a cat named LA Cool from Hip Hop Clan. But the MVP thing started on LaSalle Ave.
On this block.
On this block, you know, and we was into women. I mean, we was young players. And we was like, you know, everybody's claiming, you know, either Crip blood or hustler. Let's do something out of the norm.
Let's do something out of the norm. Let's do something different.
It just started off as Most Valuable Pimp?
Period.
Most Valuable Pimp.
No Crip, no gang,
no
MVP.
Period. MVP. 4 people. Me, Bob, my other brother, shout out to Big Ock. Big Ock live in this building. And JB, he lives in that building that's around on Harvard. But you can jump the fence and he's on the block.
So JB came out with the name.
He created the name.
At that time, it was other people around here, scattered gangs. We ran into some other cats that was claiming West Side Pimps. Big Menace, Top Dollar, a couple other cats that was connected to that. It was a discussion made because they obviously, it had to be to the point where we had to come up with either we was gonna join them or they was gonna join us, and we kept the MVP name, so they had to join us.
We converted Top Dollar and Menace to MVP. And in that time, when we were creating our situation, there were already situations in the area that were up and going, like Gramercy Street Hustler, shout out to the Gramercys.
Right.
Manhattan Mob, shout out to the Manhattan Mob. KOD, shout out to the KODs and the Sex Jerk. Those were factions that were already going around that were different, that weren't Crip, that weren't Blood. So we were trying to follow in that path, and that's the vein that we struck out at first.
Where did that come from? Because everybody at that time, not everybody, but a lot of people want to be a Blood, want to be from 20s, want to be from Blackstone, they want to be a Crip.
We were never comfortable with assimilation.
Right. We
always wanted to do something different.
We put the MVP thing as a different, but we was always pushing that hip hop gangster, because at the time we was still going to a house party. We was young, so we was catching the buzz.
I was DJing. You know? We was all over the city doing different things that concerned hip hop, and everybody that we knew either rapped, they either tagged, they They DJ'd. They did something that happened to do with hip hop.
Plus, we had the gangster background. He had Crips in his family.
Right.
He grew up in the Bloods around this area, but he was more.
Most of the people in my family, Santana, you know, Compton, Carver, you know, Raymond, you know what I mean, Antoine, and all of them. That's, you know what I mean. So that's the first view I got really good of that type of lifestyle.
When I came, it was almost like second nature kicking it with him because I knew where I was at, you know. I was from Marvin, but I was still a BG, you know. I didn't have no real years under me.
No rank.
No ranking, you know. So yeah, that's why I went to Marvin. When my mom first came from Panama, the first house we lived, we moved to on Hauser in Washington behind Mike's Liquor, and then we moved on Simona. So it was like I was birthed like right there, you know, in the Marvins.
To expound on my side of it, I lived over here. I grew up over here. So there were Bloods around all the time. You rest in peace to Rocky, the Trey K's, the Sambos, the Big Sets. They always were around. So we knew, we grew up with them. The people that live over here, we went to school all together. You feel me? So it's not like you don't know what it is. It's just that you're not a part of it. You know what I mean? It's like you watching a movie, but you watching it, you ain't in the movie.
Being that LaSalle, right here between Washington and the 10 freeway, is really right smack dab in Blood area. What impact, if any, did the Bloods have on you guys as an influence? Thanks for watching StreetTV.net. If you're not subscribed, please hit that button below and click the bell to receive alerts and notifications. Feel free to comment below so you can give us your feedback, and be sure to watch the 2 related episodes to the right. If you want to support this platform or follow us on social media, visit the links in the description, and thanks for watching StreetTV.net.